In today's episode, we discuss the one-of-a-kind looping coaster that's been bringing the heat at Hersheypark for the last 15 years. Welcome to Airtime Traveler. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Roller Coaster History Podcast. You are listening to Airtime Traveler. My name is Nathan Grace, and as always, I am joined by my wife and lovely co-host.
Hello, my name is Haley Grace.
And thank you for tuning in to episode 13 of the podcast. If you haven't had a chance to listen before, basically here at Airtime Traveler, we're, diving into the individual history of roller coasters.
Let's just be honest here. We're total geeks about roller coasters. Especially you.
Well, yeah, definitely me.
You're a roller coaster geek, and I'm roller coaster semi-geek.
Semi-geek.
Yes.
You listen. I do all the research, so that's the difference between
When
geek and semi-geek.
Research and listening to research, that says geek to me.
I think it says genius, not geek. So if you haven't listened to the podcast before, I am a coaster enthusiast, and my wife is a member of the GP, or the general public. So I share these stories of the history of individual coasters, and she's here to make it more interesting and make me less boring. So.
But I always do that.
Wow.
I'm just kidding.
I'm going to turn this off right now.
Don't you?
If you haven't had a chance to listen to our trip report that we just did last week, we did our trip report from our trip to Kings Island earlier this year. So be sure to go check that out. And also follow us on social media. We're over on Instagram and Twitter. And be sure to follow the podcast so you're kept up to date every time we release a new episode, whether it's one of these episodes of Airtime Traveler or one of our trip reports. We've got lots of those coming. We went to Hersheypark and Kennywood and Carowinds and Cedar Point over the summer. So lots of trip reports coming your way. So be sure to follow the podcast so that you're always up to date when we release a new episode. And I do have one more item of business, because I got something wrong in our last episode of Airtime Traveler, and I didn't realize it until after the fact.
What did you do?
So when we were talking about Gemini, we talked about Corkscrew and how Corkscrew only held the inversion record for a few weeks.
Yeah.
What I didn't realize is that both of the coasters, the coaster I thought broke the record was Demon, which was at Six Flags, or at the time it was Marriott's Great America, which was in Illinois and California, and they both had the same coaster. What I didn't realize is when they built it, it only had 2 inversions. And then in 1980, I think, they added 2 loops to both of them. So I thought they opened with 4 inversions and broke the record like a couple weeks afterwards. But they actually only opened with 2 inversions. So Corkscrew held the record until Carolina Cyclone opened in March of 1980. So there's my correction.
You're not giving them enough credit.
I know. I thought Cedar Point got beat like a few weeks later. They held the record for like 4 years, actually. So they actually held the inversion record when Gemini was built.
Cedar Point is going to hold that against us now and never want to do an interview with us.
That's why I'm apologizing. Forgive me, Cedar Point.
They're never going to let you back in.
No. Don't let me back in, because I paid them to do that. They just may never come on the podcast now.
That would be sad.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That would be a dream, man. If Cedar Point.
That would be cool. Maybe someday we can get. Even if it's not like someone at Cedar Fair, maybe we can get someone that used to work there, or a write-up, or just someone that worked at Gemini, or whatever other coasters we talked about. Like,
that would be cool.
That would be cool. So,
all right, what are we talking about today?
All right, so today is an important milestone, because we are going back to a park for the first time today.
Ooh.
So everything we've done up until this point, I've tried to go from park to park. We've technically, when we did the Reverchon spinning coaster, we went back to Kennywood and Disney World, but I don't know, that was kind of different because we're talking about a specific model rather than a specific coaster.
Yeah.
But this will be the first time we're going full-blown revisiting a park we've already talked about. So we're going back to Hersheypark today, actually.
Yes.
So
okay.
we're gonna be talking about Fahrenheit at Hersheypark.
Yes,
so,
please. Oh, this is like honestly my top 3 coasters.
You haven't been on this one yet. You're thinking about Storm Runner.
Yes, I am.
You're thinking about Storm Runner. You haven't been.
There's
on
my
Fahrenheit.
GP.
There's the.
That's it shining through right there.
That's the GP. Haley doesn't remember coaster names. She remembers
I don't remember any names. I don't remember people's names or
like on Spotify, like song names or artist names.
even like people I meet. I'm just like, what was your name again? It's so bad. I have a terrible memory.
That's all right. So,
which is even worse because I barely journal. I really should be better about that. There you go. It's said on the podcast. There's my flaw I need to be better at. Is journaling about the roller coasters at Hersheypark and their names.
Oh, I thought you were journaling about people's names. So you're going to journal about the coasters to remember the coaster names. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to have like a outfit that has a little like pocket and have like a little notebook, so every time I get on
I guarantee there's a coaster enthusiast out there that keeps a notebook in their pocket, and every time they ride it, they're like, it's a little more airtime this time than there was last time. I prefer row 3, seat 2. And like just makes notes like that. That is way more extreme than I will ever get.
We will not judge you if you do this.
No, I don't judge you if you do that. Because
please comment and let us know if you do this, because this would be awesome to actually.
Because my thing is like, you can enjoy your hobbies however you want to enjoy them.
Heck yeah.
Like some people in the coaster community get like super picky about like
what row you're in.
Well, and what's a coaster and what's not a coaster. Like, well, that one's powered, so that one's not a roller coaster. That's a powered coaster, so that doesn't count as a credit. And I'm like, come on, it's a hobby. Like, just let people count what they want to count, and if you don't want to count it, don't count it. Like, I don't care. Like,
yeah.
So I just, if it's a hobby, enjoy it how you want to enjoy it. Who cares? If it was a competition, that's different, but it's not. So
right.
Yeah. Anyway. So, Fahrenheit at Hersheypark opened in 2008. It debuted at number 46 in the Golden Ticket Awards. So, not bad, not great. It would fall out of the top 50 the following year, which, I mean, that's pretty easy. If 4 coasters ahead of you open that are brand new, you're out of the top 50. So, in the CoasterBot rankings, it currently ranks number 79 in the country, so top 100. It ranks below coasters such as Incredible Hulk at Universal, Monster at Adventureland, and SheiKra at Busch Gardens Tampa. It ranks above coasters such as Steel Curtain at Kennywood, Superman Krypton Coaster at Six Flags Fiesta Texas, and Dominator at Kings Dominion. Now, if you had to guess, based on, I know you haven't been on Fahrenheit, but you've been on, I think, almost everything else at Hersheypark.
Yeah, because I went on Great Bear last time.
Yeah.
But I wasn't able to get on Fahrenheit because I think we were trying to leave.
No, I think you got sick.
Oh, you might be right.
And like your dad wasn't able to get on it either because he wasn't feeling well, so I think you just decided to stay off with him. And so your brother and I went and rode it, but that was it. So, and the time before that, you were nervous to ride it because of your vertigo and how many times it goes upside down. So, just both times it just didn't quite work out. But I think you've been on everything else at Hersheypark. So,
I think you're right. Based
on that, where do you think it ranks in the CoasterBot rankings, at least?
So where's it at again? Like according to this?
So it's number 79 in the country.
I mean...
So in some of the big ones there, just to refresh your memory, so there's Storm Runner, which is the one we were
So like a ranking out of the coasters in the park?
Yeah, where do you think it falls? Out of the, how many do they have? 12? 11 or 12? Because there's Candemonium, Storm Runner, Sky Rush, Great Bear, Lightning Racer. Those are some of the more popular ones.
I think I would put it like above like the wooden coasters. I used to say that I loved wooden coasters, and now I'm like, They're not as smooth
We're
as I
getting
like.
too old for that.
Yeah, it's true. We're 26 and we're like, oh, this is ridiculous on how old we feel. No, I wasn't as much of a fan of Sky Rush as I thought I would be either, because it like hurt my thighs.
Thigh crush.
Yes. And so like I didn't enjoy that feeling. Like I wish it would have had different restraints. So maybe put it even above like Sky Rush, but not like above like Candemonium or Storm Runner.
Gotcha.
So maybe fourth or fifth.
So you're right and you're wrong. So it does rank fourth at the park, but Sky Rush is their highest ranking coaster, actually.
That's ridiculous. I don't understand that. Like, Candemonium and, like, Storm Runner are such fun coasters
So, because I feel the same way you do. I loved Sky Rush, but not, like, I don't have, like, a love affair with it like some coaster enthusiasts do. Like, some coaster enthusiasts will actually rank it as their number one overall, like, even higher than, like, Steel Vengeance, Twisted Timbers. Like, they just love the heck out of Sky Rush. But I think it just really comes down to on how you feel about the restraints, and I didn't care for them either.
I didn't care for them either.
It's in my top 15, but, like, it's not, like, it's ranked number 8th in the country in the Coaster Bot rankings, so. Anyway.
Okay.
It's kind of polarizing. And then Storm Runner's 37, Candemonium at 54, then Fahrenheit at 79, and 97 is Great Bear. So they have 5 coasters in the top 100.
Okay.
So, and then, the rest of them after that. And Jolly Rancher Remix isn't on there because that one's new, so we'll see where that one ranks later this year.
It looked nauseating, and you said that like you got so sick.
I'm going to give it another try the next time I go to Hersheypark.
You're crazy.
Well, I wasn't wearing my motion sickness bands, which tend to really help. I had forgotten to put them on. And so I did 2 other boomerang coasters over the summer, and neither of those may be nearly as sick.
Yeah, but this one has scents added to it.
And I don't know if it was that. I don't know.
The scents were nauseating off the ride, so I don't think that I could do it. So
it just depends because, like, when we did it, we got cherry, and I know cherry would have made you extremely nauseous. But
I hate cherry.
You just hate cherry in general, let alone artificial cherry. But anyway, off topic.
Yeah.
So, review of the logo. I think the logo looks really nice. Very clean. So.
Yeah, I agree. It doesn't, like, give any kind of, like, giveaway of, like, I don't know. Like it's not a cheesy logo and, like, it could have a different theme if you want it to, like,
yeah.
You know.
Do you like the name of the coaster?
Yeah, I actually do like the name of the coaster. I think it's, again, we've talked about, like, Hersheypark and their names with the coasters. So I do wish it had more of a candy-themed name, like Hot Tamale. Like that would.
I don't think they own that, but I get that.
You know what I mean? But like
I get what you're saying. So
yeah, like I think that would be more appropriate name for a park that's revolved around candy.
Right, and I think they're getting into that now. So
right. So
ever since Candemonium, really. So
well, and I think it's wonderful. So
yeah,
but.
Still waiting to see what that Wildcat replacement's going to be,
Dude.
though. They announced that, 3 months ago, and we still have no idea? It may have not been 3, maybe 2 months ago. Still.
Do they have any kind of, anniversaries coming up that they might announce something?
I mean, not really. The park is, I think, still open daily at this point. Maybe not. It's maybe only open on the weekends in October. I can't remember, but at some point in the next, several weeks, they'll do a few, they're open a little bit for Christmas, but then I think they're closed January through March.
I thought they had a Christmas thing, and it might be they have the park open, but not rides open.
It might, but what it probably is they're open, but based on the temperature, coasters, can only open at certain temperatures, and so...
Fahrenheit doesn't warm them up.
Wow. That was clever.
Fahrenheit's not doing its job, apparently.
Fahrenheit can still be... Fahrenheit's just a measurement. It could be 0 degrees Fahrenheit.
I guess it has little flames on the logo, though.
Well, the catchphrase for the ride is 97 degrees and falling fast.
And it's not doing its job then.
So,
although I am extremely happy for the nicer, colder weather, so
yeah.
It's so nice.
So, here's the ride entrance. They have several signs, actually. There's like one above the entrance, there's one above the station, and then there's one on like the backside of the station, like as you're walking, because it's like in a corner.
I noticed that. Like, it was, I never knew where the entrance was to this ride, like, because there were so many different signs for it, so.
I do like the Hersheypark thing of putting like the ride name on the station is kind of cool. They do that with most of their, in fact, I think all of their, at least all their major coasters, they do that. So.
Like, photo op opportunity. So, like, if people are watching people leave the station, like, I do agree that it is a very fun photo op opportunity. So,
yep, so here's the catchphrase, 97 degrees and falling fast.
I swear, it's been hotter there sometimes.
Oh, it's definitely been hotter. Review the paint scheme. I think it looks really good. I
mean, if it was going to be more on, like, the whole 97 degrees, I wish it was more, instead of blue, like, maybe do it, like, a red and a yellow, or a red and an orange.
Like orange with yellow supports instead of the blue or something.
Because that looks more red to me, maybe.
Well, we'll get into that. It has changed colors.
Oh.
So, we'll talk about that later.
I'm jumping ahead again. I always do this.
You don't have to worry about that. I'll just say we'll talk about it later. And you just have to be patient. That's fine.
I don't have patience.
That's true.
Hey, you're not supposed to agree with me.
Oh, sorry. The trains, I don't know, they're fine. They're gray. So.
Okay, I do love these pictures, though. I love looking at people, like, on coasters, like, their reactions. Like, it's so funny.
Well, because, like, you can still, like, this guy's having fun, this guy's having fun. These two look terrified.
Look at the little boy in that picture.
Wait, in this one?
The other one.
Oh, right here. He looks so small.
He's, like, crying.
Oh, like this one. He looks like he's having fun.
Yeah. Then the girls in the second row, like, the one girl's like, this is awesome, and the other one's like, I'm gonna puke.
There's like two kinds of terrified on roller coasters. There's like the screaming terrified, and then there's the like just pure, like, I've just seen a ghost terrified. And that's what she looks like.
The one girl's screaming before the coaster even goes. Look at the last row that you can possibly...
Right here. She's just screaming at the prospect of...
Do you remember? Scared. Oh my goodness. Okay, so it was at Cedar Point. We were going on, I think it was Millennium Force, and someone was screaming like the entire way, like up
I don't remember that.
Oh
I remember there was
it was either Millennium Force. It was a ride that we went on, and like someone was literally screaming like bloody murder, like, please get me off this ride.
I remember watching Valraven, and there was someone that screamed like the whole, like, we weren't on it, but there was someone that screamed like the whole way up the lift hill, and I was like, they're terrified already.
That's dedication to scream all the way up the hill.
Yeah.
I screamed whenever it tilted me down, but I think that was
You didn't know it stopped before.
I didn't know. I seriously, like, with my whole heart. Because
your biggest fear is getting stuck on a roller coaster.
Like, with my whole heart. I seriously, because I wasn't watching it before, like I got on it. Like, I just kind of was like, I don't know. Like, you pay attention to those things. I do not.
Well, and I know what model it is. Like, I know exactly what to
So, like,
expect.
when I got on
I watched POVs like 8
looks
times
like
before
a lot
we
of fun, like a little dip in the thing. I was like, this actually looks like a really fun ride. And then we get on it, and it gets, like, quote unquote, stuck. I freaked. I was like, I almost started crying. Like, I was truly terrified. And then when it dropped, I was, like, cursing your name. I was like, I hate you.
Didn't do that. You had fun once it dropped.
It was a lot.
Once it dropped, you were like, oh, okay, that was supposed to happen.
And I said that was like one of my favorite rides because it was just so unexpected. But if it did get stuck like that, then I would have killed you.
Because that ride and this one are kind of similar in the idea of, like, this one has a beyond vertical drop, but Valraven is just 90 degrees.
Yeah.
But this one is different in the fact that it doesn't like hold you over the edge. It's just like you go over the top and it just like, just flings you straight off. So
interesting.
This is the park's description. It says 97 degrees and falling fast. Climb the steep 121-foot lift hill before plummeting down the signature Fahrenheit coaster 97-degree drop. That's just the beginning. Next, fly through a memorable course of loops, corkscrews, dives, and plenty of thrilling airtime. The only thing that's weird about this description is there's not a lot of airtime on Fahrenheit. There's one airtime hill at the end of the ride.
They gotta sell it.
I guess so, but there's only one airtime hill at the end of the ride.
Yeah.
And granted, it's a very good airtime hill, but I wouldn't say it has plenty of airtime.
One thing I am shocked about is, like, that is a pretty decent, like, ride length time. Because it says ride time is 1 minute 25 seconds. Is that true to...
Yeah, and, I mean, to be fair, that's probably middle of the road. Because ride time also includes... Basically, it's from when you leave the station to when you enter the station. Mm-hmm. So if it has, like a lift hill, that's included in that.
Well, so. I was even thinking like a long break before you get into the station.
I typically won't. Like if you got stopped on the brakes and waited for another train, that won't count. Mm. They basically, when they're doing their test runs, it'll go as if it was the one train on the ride. How long would it take to go from station to station? So that's why launch coasters typically have a lot less ride time. Because there's no lift hill included. It's just, they just send you off and go. So, let's see. Oh, you ready for customer reviews?
Yes! These are my favorite.
So fun. All right, we got 1 star, scared out of my mind. And coming,
No. You're reading it.
Scared out of my mind. Mimed. And coming from me, that's saying something. So apparently this guy's, likes coasters and was scared of this one. All right.
Yeah.
1 star. That's the whole review. So I don't know what that means. 2 stars. My friend and I got on it, and she had a headache along with being dizzy. We went to the nurse, and she gave us an attitude.
Why would you make a review about the first aid station?
So I always like it when something else impacts their opinion of the coaster. Like when they say...
they forget where they're posting on. Like, this is a review for the coaster, not for the park.
Well, they'd be like, 2 stars, it was closed that day. It's like, you didn't even get on it. You don't know. That'd be like you going on there being like, 2 stars, I was too sick to ride it. Like, what? That doesn't make any sense. 3 stars, it's a really awesome ride, but it is super short and not that scary, but the drop is really intense and fun. I just thought it was funny. This guy said it's not that scary, while the other guy said it was super
terrifying,
scary.
Yeah.
4 stars. Have you ever been to Universal Studios in Orlando, Florida? Well, Fahrenheit here at Hersheypark resembles the Rip Rocket roller coaster at Universal Studios, but just on a slightly smaller scale. However, the Rip Rocked does not loop or corkscrew, and the Fahrenheit does. Yet the Fahrenheit, I do believe, has a shorter height drop than the Rip Rocket. Try it out. You decide. Though it is an awesome coaster, I gave it a 4 out of 5 only because I thought it should have a better airtime drop, but it still is awesome. Whoa, okay. There's not really a whole lot of similarities between Rip Ride Rocket and this ride. The only thing I can think of is they both have a vertical lift hill. That's pretty much where the similarities end. Because this thing goes upside down 6 times, and Rip Ride Rocket goes upside down 0 times.
Yeah.
And that one has music. This one doesn't have music.
Get on Rip Ride Rocket again? No. Will they try Fahrenheit? Yeah.
Yeah, we'd probably try Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
So.
I would not get back on
There's not 6 brake runs on Fahrenheit.
I still get not like dizzy thinking about all those brake runs.
4 stars, the orange drop. I have never... In all of the research I did for this is the only person on the internet that called it that.
That's what you can name it. You can name it the Orange Crush.
Orange Crush? Well, they don't...
Like the Fanta. Like
they'd have to some type of licensing deal with that. It was a little better when they would stall you at the top in the drop. So I'm curious. I couldn't find this out for sure, but he makes it sound like...
It almost sounds like a Valerie.
Well, it used to stall at the top and then go, but... I've never experienced that, so I don't know. But overall, this is a good coaster. It's great for first-timers. I'm not first
First
timers
timers
of
for
what?
what? Yeah.
First timers of
First timers for the
beyond
park?
vertical drop. I don't know. The whole ride takes less than 4 minutes to return to the station. 4 minutes is a long time. Pretty much every roller coaster is less than 4 minutes. This is also less than 2 minutes, so...
Yeah, it has the description on
has
it.
enough swoops and whirls to knock those fears out. What does that mean?
Andrew, you've got some interesting reviews here, buddy.
I put this coaster in the top 4 in the park and top 20 in the entire Northeast. It's very specific.
Okay,
I have park rankings and overall rankings. I do not have regional rankings.
He's the guy that has the notebook in his pocket.
Hey, you might be. This might be our guy. 4 stars. I like this ride, but I was screaming so much because that drop made my whole stomach drop, and it was a weird feeling. I'm pretty sure most people have this feeling, especially going on roller coasters like these. I feel like since I went on this one, I can do any roller coaster no matter how terrifying it is.
Alright.
Maybe. 4 stars. It was fun, but it sent my anxiety through the roof, and I couldn't ride another roller coaster. LOL. Very fun, though.
But it's...
I don't understand this review.
Has no
Did you like it or not?
I gave it a 4-star review, but I don't want to go on any other roller coasters.
It's like, it was fun, but I hated it. But it was fun. I'm confused.
Bipolar much?
5 stars. I didn't ride this in the morning while at Hersheypark. I honestly was too afraid. And when I finally mustered the courage to go on, everything was closed because there was a thunderstorm coming. So never got the chance to go on. Great looking roller coaster, however. Definitely looks very thrilling. Sure, it is a lot of fun. 5 stars. Never rode it. 5 stars. Okay.
This is you just literally said this. That, like, people, like, make a review not even going on it.
Well,
let me take a picture.
The only
this
time...
is aesthetically pleasing to me. I'm going to give it a 5-star.
Oh my gosh. 5 stars. The great part is the conductor.
The conductor?
That's not what they're called. Great guy. We also stood in line with a genius, fabulous woman and her son.
Why would you
What is happening? What are we talking about?
These are so great.
Stood in line
Please tell me that
with
you like this.
With a genius, fabulous woman and her son. I have no idea what's happening right now.
I want to be in line with these.
This guy has left 195 reviews. I kind of want to read all of them.
What if that's her husband? He's just
stood in line with a genius, fabulous.
Trying to get the brownie.
Hey, honey,
points.
look at this review I left for the ride.
I did this.
Happy
review.
anniversary. Oh my gosh. Wow. What? And my favorite, 1 star. This is a horrible place to get your nails done.
What?
When I asked for acrylics, they refused me service and said to leave. All I wanted was to get my nails done.
Wrong.
Oh my gosh. This is my favorite
That's
one.
This is a new TikTok trend. Let's try and paint your nails on a roller coaster and see how it goes.
I find it hilarious when people leave
trends?
a review in just the completely wrong spot.
Have you ever seen those trends on, like, TikTok or, like, social media where they have to, like, hold the cup of water while riding a coaster and see if they can try and get it to not
I haven't
spill?
seen that, but I have seen eating on a roller coaster. Like, they have, like, a sandwich and they have to eat it.
I'm giving you homework now.
Oh, all right.
You need to go look up the videos of, like, people trying to hold a cup of like,
water.
a bottle of water or a cup of water, like, riding a roller coaster, and they have to, like, try and prevent it from spilling on them, but they are so funny because all this water's, like, but it's just, like, they're trying to, like, maneuver the cup of water, the bottle of water that not
Yeah, I've
spill
seen drawing, I've seen, like, eating a sandwich. Yeah, I've seen a couple different ones, so that's interesting. All right, so with that in mind, let's talk about the history of Fahrenheit. So
that's a lot of pages of history, babe.
Yeah, well, we may not get to all of it. We'll see. So, well, one of these we already went through. So,
all right.
So let's go back to 1988. All right, let's go back to 1988. We've already talked about the founding of Hersheypark in our Wildcat episode. which if you haven't had a chance to listen to was episode 2, so be sure to go and check that out. So we won't cover all the backstory of Hersheypark, but I will say that Hersheypark had a long history of water rides. So they first opened Shoot the Chute in 1914, they refurbed it in 24, and then they would also open a dark water ride called Mill Chute, and a third refurb to Shoot the Chute, and a speedboat ride. I have no idea what a speedboat ride is.
Turn the Hershey into a water park.
With all this in mind, we find ourselves in 1987, before we get to 88. They had just opened 3 new roller coasters in 77, including the record-breaking Super Duper Looper. So now they were kind of shifting their attention and making a big push for more water rides in the park. They hadn't opened any new water rides since 73, so they had paddle boats on the Spring Creek in 1982, and a large river rapid ride, Canyon River Rapids, in 1987. So here's Canyon River Rapids.
That looks almost identical to Cali River Rapids.
To Cali River. I think Cali River Rapids boats are bigger than this
They are, but I'm just saying, like, it's a very similar...
I mean, there's so many river rapid rides
right,
that are all...
I feel like the color and, like, the...
I'll tell you, there is something it should remind you of. More than Cali River Rapids.
Nope, got nothing.
So this
Wait, is it like in Silver Dollar City?
No. You're much more familiar with where this is at now.
Kennywood.
Mm-hmm. So this rapid ride's not there anymore. Those boats went to Kennywood for their river rapid ride.
I forgot they even had a rapid ride, and here's why: because it's never
closed.
open.
It's never
open. Yeah.
You've been on it though, right?
No, I have been on it, but it's been a really long time.
Yeah, I'm sure it has. So, park officials were intent on continuing to open water rides. This was kind of also a trend that was happening nationwide. I found this this newspaper article that was talking about how these river rapid rides, apparently there had been 17 built in the 80s. Just like all over the country, like these were just happening all over the place. It talks about
like
Knott's Berry Farm, Busch Gardens, Great America in Northern California. So they were just building like all kinds of them all over the place. And then Disney had just opened Typhoon Lagoon. They talk about Splash Mountain in here. So, they're just talking about how water rides are just kind of taking over the 80s. Okay.
They're fun, so...
Yeah, not bad. So...
I don't see why not.
You're not a huge fan of them, but... Well, just because you don't like getting wet and walking around the park wet all day, so...
I love them for, like, the thrill of them. And
right, it's just the getting wet part of
I
it.
hate getting wet. If I know that I'm getting on that ride, like, I bring stuff with me to change into. Because I don't like walking around wet. It just... it's such a gross feeling to me, and I'm like, nope. No thanks.
Yeah.
Anyways.
To each their own. So, okay. So now that brings us to 1988. So they just opened Canyon River Rapids the year before.
Right.
And then they would open another water ride. They would open Frontier Shootout. So this was a pair of winding water tubes known as Slide Winder. Oh, come on. That's a good name.
It's not.
And Pistol Pete's Plunge. The new water slide complex was built by New Wave Rides.
Nathan.
What? Slidewinder a good name. What's wrong with Slidewinder?
So much.
It's clever.
Exactly. What you think is clever is probably really cheesy.
Those can coexist.
Oh my God.
The funny part is they would open a roller coaster in 91 called Sidewinder. So there was Sidewinder and Slidewinder in the same part.
Well,
they didn't get it though. Like this article actually calls it Sidewinder, but that's not what its name was. So
it might be a typo. One letter can change the whole dimension of a ride.
So there was basically two sides. So there was two water slides over here that were like enclosed, and they would like wind back and forth.
I feel like I've been on a ride like this. I'm curious about, there's a park like a water park in Pittsburgh that's owned by Kennywood, and I think it's called
Something Castle.
Sandcastle.
Yes.
And I think they have almost an identical ride to this, where it's like the fast one is on one side.
Well, I mean...
And then the slow one's on the other.
Water slides are a dime a dozen, and they're all
I
very
guess it's
similar.
true.
So this one you would actually ride on a raft.
Yeah.
So I
feel like I've been
you
on
wouldn't.
something
Well,
like
you
this.
wouldn't even have to get like in your bathing suit or anything. Like you could just ride this, just like on a log flume.
No, you'd have to wear your bathing suit.
No, that's not. That was the idea behind it. So.
Oh. You would get so wet. How do you get out of the boat?
I mean, look, this guy's wearing shoes.
No.
Yeah?
No, socks and shoes on a water slide. No. That should never be a thing. I don't care what year you're from. That should never,
funny.
ever be a thing.
Oh,
I'm sorry. I have to take a minute and, like, compose myself of walking around with socks.
we're going to be
and
talking
socks.
about a lot of water rides.
Socks? Gross.
So then this side...
Did they have to wear shoes on that side, too?
I don't think... Well, I don't think they had to wear shoes. I'm just saying you could.
No.
I don't know. Anyway, I don't know about this side, but this side was much tamer. Like, it was just like a little, couple drops down. So this was like the tame side, and this was the more thrilling side.
That was the tame side? That looks faster.
Well, I mean, this one's just kind of a straight drop down, where this one's winding and turning and enclosed. So.
Okay.
So, actually, I'm not positive which one was which. Oh, yes, there it is. It says, so Slide Winder was this side, and Pistol Peach Plunge Chutes was on this side. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Actually, now that I look at it, it does say that this side was faster.
That's what I'm saying.
So
it's
this
like
one was
usually
fast.
those ones
So
that
I guess
go
this one was
down.
faster, but then this one was longer, and
Yeah.
So whatever your preference is.
Say, like...
Funny story. While I was doing the research for this, was there anything from this article I wanted to point out? I remember over here. So it talks about Frontier Shootout is next to Canyon River. This is weird. Recently, the line for plunge was 27 minutes long. Okay, they don't post ride times in that kind of increment. So this was literally, and this is 1988. So this guy
has a stopwatch.
And is in line timing how long his wait was with a stopwatch.
Put it in his pocket.
That is hilarious.
He takes
because then again it says
to a whole new level.
The line for Slide Winder was 23 minutes long.
The ride lasts no more than 25
so
seconds, so he had to stop the stopwatch, get on the ride,
well,
start it again.
I mean, the rides for the ones for the rides, you could say like you could time it watching people, but waiting in line, yeah, you have to time that yourself. Yeah. That is really funny. So I found this vintage Frontier shirt, Frontier Shootout.
Frontier Shootout shirt.
Found this shirt on eBay, which is totally random. All right, so I guess they sold shirts and someone kept it and sold it on eBay.
We should. Well, you know what we should have done though, is we should have bought shirts for Top Thrill Dragster. We would have made bank.
I'm sure a lot of people have them though.
I think we would have made bank.
Maybe in 50 years we would have made bank. Yeah.
You've hung on to shirts for like 10 years.
Yeah, but I wear them, and then they're not worth anything.
Well, I guess that's true.
So, this was selling for $50.
It's in mint condition.
I don't think it's in mint condition. So, Hersheypark's continuing their push for new water attractions, so the park would open Tiny Timbers in 1989 with this cute little log flume.
Look at the little boy! Mommy!
I've never seen a ride like this before.
It's so adorable.
It's like kid version log flume. It's really cool. I like it.
I love it.
And then in 1994, they would open Tidal Force, which this is still at the park. We've seen it there. This is the one that like the splash is so big that like if you're standing on the sidewalk, it says like splash zone on the ground because you can get wet from that far back. In fact, I found this article. This is unrelated, but they when they first opened it, there wasn't any plastic on the bridge up here, and they had to shut the ride down because the wave was so strong it sent someone flying into the fence and they got hurt.
Oh. my gosh.
Yeah, so
What?
that's pretty wild. So they put like this plexiglass on there, so that way the water, like you can still go on the bridge without getting just completely
I'm not
wiped
saying
away.
what's in my mind right now because it's so cheesy.
Well, you have to say it now that you left it
I was
open.
gonna say they Elsa-fied it.
They
I'm
Elsa-fied
like
it?
Frozen 2 and she like prevents the tidal wave from like hitting Arendelle. And they Elsa-fied it. So
I don't think Elsa-fied is a word.
oh, it totally is now.
It is now. Alright, after the completion of Tidal Force, the park seemed content with their collection of water rides and shifted back to roller
Well, I would
coasters.
hope so. They had like what, 16 different water rides? No, you said you said that they opened like a lot of water rides throughout the country. That's where I'm getting that number.
Yeah, that was countrywide. So 1996 they would open Wildcat, which we've talked about. So here's a park map from '96. So you can see here's Wildcat here, Tidal Force right next to it. Here's the River Rapid right here, and then here's Slidewinder and Pistol Pete's. So kind of all these water rides, kind of one little section here. They also had Coal Cracker, but that's way at the back of the park over here. And then I think Tiny Timbers, that tiny little, I think that was kind of with the kiddie rides rather than being with the water rides. So, which makes sense.
Yeah.
Let's see. And then they would open Great Bear in 98 and Wild Mouse in 99. And then in 99, they also would refurbish the Frontier Shootout and they would rename it Western Shootout. So this is after they refurbished.
Why would they rename it to just Western?
I really don't know because they kind of mean the same thing, don't they?
That's what I was
Western
gonna
and Frontier.
say. Western
So
Frontier.
they renamed the actual slides too. So they renamed it. Oh, what did they rename it? Winding Rivers and Straight Shooters. Get it? Because this one's the straight one and that one's the winding one. That's not that clever. I'm not impressed with these names.
Oh, come on. Stop judging them on their names, Nathan.
Well, I'm getting us content. What else are we going to talk about?
Okay.
The paint job?
That's a mighty fun paint job.
I love the blue and the green. And
It's
the
multiple
other blue
shades
and
of
the other
blue.
green.
It really pops against the gray sky.
Yeah, this is not a nice day that they took this picture. The only other thing I noticed is they enclosed these ones. I'm not sure why they made that decision, but
I mean, I would rather get on the enclosed ones than the ones that were open. So.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Like it just feel more secure that
yes.
way? Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, let's see. So the following year, in 2000, Carowinds would open a brand new water coaster named the Flying Super Saturator, which is this one
would
here.
Suck. I would not go on that one.
Why would this suck?
I don't want to go on a roller coaster that people get to shoot water guns at me.
Well, you get to shoot water at them too. We talked about, so the reason I bring this up is because a few years later, Hersheypark would open Roller Soaker, which we actually talked about in our Wildcat episode. So basically, it was inverted coaster, but you had like this thing that you could pull and it would drop water down on people that you passed over. Thanks. And then there's people underneath you that could also shoot water at you.
No way. I'd be so mad if someone shot me with water.
Well, you don't like getting wet, so this is like your worst nightmare.
It is exactly like.
Yeah. Let's see. So this kind of gets opened over with all the other water rides in that section. Okay, so then I have this park map. So this is from, I think this is from like 2002. So you can see they had opened Lightning Racer by this point. And then here's Tidal Force here, Canyon River Rapids, here's Roller Soaker back in the back, and then Western Shootout right down here. So they kind of have this, collection of water rides that they're putting together right here, all in one spot. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. So after that, they shift their focus back to roller coasters and thrill rides. So they would add Storm Runner in 2004 and Reese's Extreme Cup Challenge in 2006. Now, at this point in the park's history, they're nearing their 100th anniversary in 2007. So they're trying to decide, they got to do something big for the 100th anniversary, right? That's a big deal. So ultimately what they decided was they wanted to build a water park, like an actual water park, like people, can actually, get changed in your swimsuit, spend several hours at this water park. So on July 13th, 2006, park officials announced the Boardwalk, which would be a $20 million water park expansion to Hersheypark. 4.6 acres, would have 323,000 gallons of water.
That's insane.
That's a lot. And would have more than 10 new water slides, which is impressive. That's a lot of water slides. So Boardwalk would be Hersheypark's most expensive investment to date and was scheduled to open for Memorial Day weekend in 2007. Which it would do, the Boardwalk would open as scheduled in 2007. So here's another park map for that year. So you can see now with the Boardwalk opening, so here's Boardwalk right here, right next to all these other water rides that they've just opened, right? Mm-hmm. So they got tons of water rides available now. And with this, they would include they would add changing areas and lockers and different things so that you could change. And they included roller soaker and all these other ones as part of the water park. Because if you'll notice when you go to Hersheypark today that there's no bathing suits beyond this point or whatever. Well, they included all this in the water park. So that way, if you wanted, this would be perfect for you. You could wear your bathing suit on roller soaker and the rapid ride and the Western shootout. That way you could get wet as much as you want and then go back and change and you could go back to the dry park. So,
okay.
So it worked out really well. The only problem is Western shootout kind of became obsolete at this point because, before the Boardwalk opened, that was, the water slide complex. Now the Boardwalk is opened with more than 10 new water slides. And so Western shootout's kind of over here by itself, and it's kind of, not being utilized as much as all the other water slides. And they're older, so they got better technology for water slides, and these ones are kind of old, so they would kind of become obsolete, and they're not getting not as many riders as they were getting on Western Shootout before that. So while all this is happening, Hershey had already been planning what their next coaster was going to be. So they had just built Storm Runner.
Now they built Fahrenheit.
Well, we're getting there. They don't. If I just did the podcast as in 2008 they built Fahrenheit, and it's been over ever since. Thank you for tuning into this episode. There's a little bit more that goes into it than that. That's what makes the show interesting.
I make the show interesting.
Oh, well, then go ahead. What
happens next? You told me I make the show interesting. Well, you won't give me the script.
So, in 2004, they had opened Storm Runner, which was built by Intamin, and that had been a huge success. People loved Storm Runner, and it was a huge success for the park. So they were more than willing to work with Intamin again, and so that was kind of what happened. They wanted to, build the second coaster with Intamin, and they wanted it to be another record breaker. So in the months leading up to the coaster's announcement, the Hershey marketing team would launch a really unique marketing campaign that I hadn't heard about, which was kind of interesting. So in August of 2007, there was a banner that was hung on the side of Western Shootout. And all it said was, October 2nd, 2007, truth revealed. And that's all it said. So, kind of ominous. I don't know what music you're singing.
That's not Twilight Zone music?
Mm-mm.
Oh, Twilight Zone's like... No, it's Batman.
Oh my gosh.
I told you I make this show interesting.
So around mid-August, someone discovered a website called, I have no idea how they pronounce this, Nantimi.com.
I want to look.
It's Nantimi.
You want to give me the script?
No. There you go. That's how it's written.
Nantimi.
Nantimi.com.
Nantimi.
Anyway. So it was for
no,
Nantimi.
I like Nantimi.
Nantimi?
No, Nantimi.
Nantimi claimed to be a web and new media company that was charged with making a website for Hersheypark's new attractions for 2008. They claimed to be based near Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and had a staff of 6 people. It was initially found on the website that the 2008 Hersheypark attraction would cost $12.1 million. The website was updated a couple of days after discovery, and a username and password was preloaded in the client login area. So there was like this little login here, but if you went on the website, this was already filled out the way it is with Hershey and some password. But this button like didn't actually work. In fact, if you clicked on it, it's just an image.
Weird.
So, in fact, if you like download the image was named as fake sign-in. So it's very weird. Let's see.
I guess this is like the time that like really like websites are becoming more and more popular.
Yeah, definitely.
So I guess this marketing strategy is kind of smart.
So the website had several fairly generic banner tabs, one of which was portfolio. Several days after, they had logos for a attraction called Tsunami. I don't know. The portfolio tab was updated and was now clickable. If you clicked on the tab, it took you to a page which said coming soon, which I don't know. So this kind of got word among enthusiasts. So enthusiasts started checking this website every day, like trying to figure out like, what is this about? Like, is this a real thing, or is this like Hershey doing something sneaky in the background? Like, what's going on here? So towards the bottom of the page, there's a deliberately semi-hidden gray colored hyperlink. So it's like hidden in this little box here, and like it was completely invisible, but like someone just found something that you could click on, and it took you to some link. And when you opened up the link, it had this like fax of like this document that said, "Dear Kate, received your call regarding the '08 announcement. We can certainly provide you with the necessary materials by September 26th for the following day's announcement. Martin is finishing the improved logo, adding the drop shadow, fine details, etc. Expect delivery toward week's end. We will also send final color selection and patterning for the base structure. Best wishes, Luke." And I guess that's the quote unquote CEO. So kind of interesting. And then let's see what else. I also had. Oh, that's right. So then there was like this link that people found that when you clicked on, this is what came up. Let's see if this will let me open. There it goes. Give it 1 second to load. This was what came up. So it was just like, I think it was 9 images that just flashed really quickly.
I don't like that.
It's kind of freaky, isn't it?
It's like fuel of nightmares.
So you can see like there's one shot of like some coaster track.
Can you turn it off?
There's
dizzy.
There's another shot of Western Shootout, and there's another. I think it said like Truth Revealed on it. So anyway, super cryptic. No one's people are trying to piece this all together. So then let's see. Another puzzle started when 25 enthusiasts got emails from Nantimi. And people started posting online about these weird emails they got because they just had like an image in it. And come to find out, there was 25 enthusiasts that got like different pieces of this image. And so they were like together, like, okay, like your piece I think goes here, and they had to like piece this together.
What?
Yeah. And when they finally pieced it together, they got this image right here. And so they finished the puzzle on September 25th, which was the day before the fax said the announcement was September 26th, right? So they pieced this together just in time. And so it had like these renderings on it. What is this? There's some text on it, but I can't quite make out what it says. But let's see. So then, after all this, on September 26, 2007, Hersheypark would officially announce Fahrenheit, a $12.1 million steel looping coaster to be built by Intamin. The coaster would feature a 121-foot vertical lift hill followed by a 97-degree drop, which would tie several coasters for the steepest drop in the world at the time. And it would be Intamin's first version of this coaster model.
I told you they would brace the slides with Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
I told you.
Mm-hmm.
I was right.
You were right. So here's an article from when they announced it. You can see they put the whole layout in here. I guess they also had a virtual tour you could take on their website, but when I tried to go to the website, it doesn't
I
work.
really like
And
the headliner for this.
Sweet
surprise for coaster lovers. Who came up with that for Hersheypark? So
I don't know.
that's
Jennifer Vogelsong, apparently.
a Jennifer Vogelsong. I just think it's funny that they use sweet surprise. Like,
it's Hersheypark.
well, that's what I'm saying. You're the one that's over there like, oh, that's a good idea.
I don't think that one's that clever. That's pretty on the nose.
All right.
Anyway, you could take a virtual tour of it. The website doesn't work anymore. And even when I plugged it into Wayback Machine, it still didn't work. So I don't know what it looked like. I do know that at one point, though, just a second, I'll get back to that. Let's see. With Fahrenheit announced, Nantimi announced that they were shutting down. Surprise, surprise. It was Hersheypark all along. Just, doing stuff to they tried this new marketing campaign of trying to give little hints and make the enthusiasts piece it together beforehand. So, which has been done a couple times since then. But we'll talk about those coasters when we talk about those coasters. We'll talk about those campaigns. So
fair enough.
Let's see what's it called when you mix up the words or the letters in a word? Is that an anagram? I can't remember exactly what it's called, but basically, if you scramble the words of Intamin, which was the manufacturer of the coaster, that's where they got Nantimi from. It's the same letters, they just mixed it up. And then let's see. So then they put together, here's an article just talking about their viral marketing campaign and kind of how they put it together. I do have this. This was apparently on the website, which was just like a POV render that was put together so that people could see what the coaster would actually do. Nothing too crazy. I mean, it pretty much ended up being exactly the same. Clearly not rendered with all the other rides in the park. It's just kind of by itself in the woods. But
looks like something that you would put on toaster. Wow. Coaster Tycoon.
Roller Coaster Tycoon, Planet Coaster. I think the render is done in No Limits 2, which is it's kind of similar. It's it's more technically advanced than Planet Coaster, but it's the same idea.
All right.
So that was apparently on the website, and then I guess they had, just like Intimidator, we talked about Intimidator a few episodes ago. They also had a webcam that you could watch the construction live online.
Which I think is really cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like it when they do that. So there's a little image there of their construction. Let's see. There really aren't very many construction photos because construction took place during the off season. But there is this really interesting video that I found, which is totally random. This is the only construction picture I could find. And then there's this video here.
Oh dear. Should I be worried?
So for those of you watching, it starts out super intense with like a spy movie with typing and stuff. And then all of a sudden, it just switches into one of those old-timey videos where it has it's all grainy, and then there's no, you can't hear people talking. It just tells you in between the slides what's happening.
Yeah, like an old 19th century.
Looks like Mother Nature will have her way today. Basically this video is showing them topping off the.
Hey, it's Gary Chubb. I have no idea who that is. Oh,
Senior Director of Maintenance at Hershey Entertainment. Basically, this video was just showing, we won't, here, I'll mute it while we watch it now, because we don't need all the audio. But basically, this video is just showing them topping off the top hat. And so, but it was just, the weird they put the video together was just super weird. It was super intense, and then went to old-timey, and I don't know. And
gotta love the movie world, man.
I know, it's very strange. But anyway, so here's them topping off the lift hill, so pretty cool. Then it says heating up at Hersheypark. So I guess they actually, I don't know if they posted this on YouTube as an advertisement or something, but like there's some editing that went into this, so clearly it was meant to be some type of marketing something or other. So anyway, very strange video. After a relatively short 6 to 7 month construction, park officials began test runs in early May.
Man, could you imagine them doing that on Tron?
Yeah, 6 to 7 months, more like 6 to 7 years.
Seriously.
I found this article kind of interesting. It talks about how technicians and inspectors are currently completing 100 hours of runtime on Fahrenheit, located on the site of the former Western Shootout. So basically, they had to put 100 hours worth of ride time into it of testing time before they would clear it for people to ride.
Is that normal? Do you know?
I'm guessing that must be some kind of it's probably manufacturers determine that on their own how many ride hours they want to put in. So that must be Intamin's what they use. But then it also talks about goes through state inspection. The bolts are all retightened afterwards and typically retightened every day. Typically, the ride manufacturer has the liberty of riding first, so that's kind of cool. And then they went and talked about if we're not willing to get on this ourselves, why would we risk putting other people on it? So that's why they prefer to ride it themselves. So that way, once they feel it's safe, they will ride it, and then they can say, yes, we feel comfortable, other people can get on this. So that's pretty cool. I like the to kind of see the process of how they test the ride and make sure it's completely ready for the public. And then let's see. I just kind of want to show the area over time. So this was 1992 before. You can see here's Western Shootout right here down at the bottom, but none of this other stuff has been developed. It just looks like empty fields. So then you see a few years later, you start to get some of this midway section built over here. Here's Wildcat right next to the road in the parking lot over here. You can see here's Frontier Shootout, Western Shootout right here. So then in 2003, you get Lightning Racers over here. Tidal Force built right here. Here's Western Shootout right down here. Here's the River Rapids Ride, Roller Soaker up here. And then finally, 2012, so this is a few years after Fahrenheit was built, but you can see this is kind of where it sits now, where Western Shootout was, but all this other stuff. Some of the water rides are there, some have been taken out. The River Rapids ride was taken out and replaced with a wave pool, so that's where that's at now. And that's why the boats got sent over to Kennywood and are sitting at the Kennywood, doing nothing now. But it used to be on the River Rapids ride over there at Kennywood. So then opening day for Fahrenheit. So this was an advertisement beforehand. Heat up with Fahrenheit and cool down with the boardwalk.
Okay, that's a good spin on words.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And they sit right next to each other, so it works.
Yeah.
So you have Fahrenheit as the the heat, and then you got the you can go cool down at the water rides next door. Fahrenheit and the boardwalk opened May 24th. I saw multiple people that said that the boardwalk wasn't open, it didn't open on time because of Fahrenheit's construction. But that doesn't make any sense because the boardwalk doesn't open until Memorial Day anyway, which is, that's when these open.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they said that, but that was weird. All right, so winners from the Nantimi marketing campaign were invited to attend a private ERT event the morning of opening day.
Fun.
So I guess I'm not sure who the quote-unquote winners were. It must have been the 25 enthusiasts that put the puzzle together. That must have been what it was.
That's my guess.
I think that's probably what it was. Unfortunately, Fahrenheit valleyed on the first test run of the day. And there's actually video of it stuck, and when they got it unstuck, check it out. It was upside down.
No. I can't. You don't even play it. I'm not kidding you. You can skip this.
There's nobody on it. It was a complete empty train.
Nope.
And that's the problem, is when you put people on it, that makes it heavier, makes it faster. So when you run empty trains, you do risk this. So I won't play it since you don't want me to. But the construction crews basically came
I will
up
never get on it if you play it. So.
Oh, I'm not trying to play it.
Don't play it.
There you go. But they basically have to come out there and send it on its way, and then it finished the course. So anyway, so that's opening day. So finally,
Yikes.
yeah. So I guess by 3 o'clock they got it freed. And then the winners, the ones that, were supposed to be there for ERT, they gave them tickets since, weren't sure if they were actually going to get to ride it or not. So that was nice of them. But the coaster finally opened at 4:15 that day. So on May 24th, 2008, Fahrenheit would open and continues to operate to this day. The ride experience is as follows. The train exits the station and makes a 135-degree turn to the right. The train then climbs the vertical lift hill of 121 feet. As far as I know, it's the only lift hill that has 2 chains. So instead of just having 1 chain, it has 2, so it locks in place twice. Mm-hmm. I guess as a vertical lift hill, it's just an extra safety precaution that they put in there. So if 1 chain broke, you'd still be fine. I don't know. Kind of interesting. After cresting the hill, riders face down directly at the ground and fall into the 97-degree drop. The train then ascends into a rare Norwegian loop. We'll talk about that in a second. Upon exit, the train dives down and to the left into a cobra roll. Following the cobra roll, the train rolls into 2 consecutive corkscrews and a bank turn to the right that goes under the lift hill. Exiting the turn, the train flies over a small airtime hill and through a low to the ground left bank turn into the final brick run. So now that the Norwegian loop that I was talking about, it's a really unique element. Basically what it is you'll go up, so you'll ascend, and then the train will invert before diving down to the ground in a half loop. And then the train subsequently rises in another half loop, and once it's almost upside down, well, actually it probably is upside down, it goes through another kind of barrel roll to get back right side up. Exiting the element in the same direction as it entered. The best way to think about it is if you took like a vertical loop, just like a normal loop, and then just flipped the whole thing upside down. So instead it's... What's so bad about that? What? Look at this. This is what it looks like. So you just come... It
looks like a pretzel.
It does look like a pretzel. Some people call them pretzel knots. So you come up this way, and you just flip upside down, and then you're right side up going underneath. So this one goes underneath this bridge. And then you come up and just flip right side up at the top here. So it's nothing crazy. It's just unique. There's only 3 coasters in the world that have this element, actually. So the first one was... What's the name of it? Speed Monster at Tusenfryd in Norway. Hence the name of the element. Since it was the first one to have that element, they just named it a Norwegian loop. And Helix at Liseberg in Sweden. This makes Fahrenheit the only American coaster that has this element. So if you want to ride a Norwegian loop in America, this is the only place to do it. So that's kind of cool. Fahrenheit was widely praised by enthusiasts. While not a massive coaster, it was extremely unique, and it was kind of like Intamin's version of Gerstlauer's looping coaster, which basically Gerstlauer does the same thing, but their trains are... It's basically 4 across 2 rows, so there's only 8 people per train, but they can send a lot more trains through. Whereas this one, the train's a little bit longer. It has 16 people on it. So, but it's the same idea. Gerstlauer does coasters that have beyond vertical drops. That's kind of their niche. They've done a lot of them. So niche. Basically their specialty. Niche, whatever. So.
That was niche.
Either way, it's their specialty. It's what they're kind of known for. Let's see. Fahrenheit was the 4th highest ranked coaster built in 2008. It was only behind Behemoth at Canada's Wonderland, Ravine Flyer 2 at Waldameer, and American Thunder at Six Flags St. Louis. Let's see. And then just a few months after Fahrenheit opened, its record was broken. So it would be broken by Steel Hog, which opened at Indiana Beach on July 5th, 2008, with a 111-degree drop, which is this drop right here.
That looks fun.
This thing is pretty wild looking.
Yeah.
This is an outer bank turn right here. So instead of being you go through a turn banked inwards like this, you go around the turn banked outwards like this. So pretty weird model. That record has since been broken several other times. So the current record holder is actually built by Gerstlauer, which is the one we were just talking about. This is TMNT Shellraiser at Nickelodeon Universe in New Jersey. has a 121.5 degree drop, which is this. So, I mean, you can see it here. This is the drop. Oh,
that's
anyway,
yeah.
you got the idea. So, in 2014, Fahrenheit appeared on the TV show Insane Coaster Wars. The episode was Beyond Vertical Drop, which is a weird name for the episode because Fahrenheit was the only coaster in that episode that had a vertical drop, or a Beyond Vertical Drop.
Interesting.
In fact, one of the other coasters that competed against, or two of them, didn't have any inversions, so that doesn't, you couldn't even argue that. And one of them was a wooden coaster. So I don't know how they decide to name their episodes. Personally, I don't like the show. It's kind of weird. Like, they rank, basically people will vote on, their favorite coaster, and whoever, wins that week, then that's the favorite, like, whatever. I don't know. I watched one episode of the first season, and Aftershock, which is a boomerang coaster, beat all the other coasters. I was like, really? Like, doesn't make sense to me. But anyway, it was interesting to watch. So basically, this girl here, she's a coaster enthusiast, and this girl, she's not like crazy about roller coasters. And so like their little spot that they did on it was like her trying, this coaster that she had, never gone on before, and it's kind of a big coaster for her. So anyway, so that's, her talking about it afterwards, and they had like this, anyway, so they did this little spot on it. Ended up finishing second out of the 4 coasters that were on there. It was going up against Kumba at Busch Gardens Tampa, which finished first, which people love on Kumba, so that doesn't surprise me. And then White Cyclone at Japan's Nagashima Spa Land finished third, and Silver Star at Germany's Europa Park finished fourth.
I'd like to be a participant in this contest.
To, like, vote on the coasters, or to, like...
Yeah, like to go ride all of them and then vote on them.
It'd be cool. So, I mean, it'd be hard to do all 4 of them. That's the other thing that's weird, is, like, if it's different people voting on these because different people live in different places.
Right.
Like, I don't know, it just doesn't make sense to me. But, anyway, it was on there. We'll get some extra publicity out of it, and the spot they did on was pretty good, so... Originally, as you can see here, and I think I have another picture, actually... But when Fahrenheit opened, it had these hard plastic restraints on it, which look horrible.
They look really uncomfortable.
They look so uncomfortable. And like you can kind of see how they, how they looked here. Fortunately, in 2016, they replaced the hard restraints with the new soft fabric restraints.
Thank please.
Goodness. They did this because Storm Runner actually had these restraints too.
No.
And they did the same thing for Storm Runner because they're built by the same company. This was actually kind of a problem that was going on, is all these Intamin coasters built in like the early 2000s had these hard plastic restraints. Intimidator 305 had these restraints when it first opened. That blows my mind. Like, I just feel like you'd get off that and you'd have like bruises on the side of your neck. I feel like.
No,
like it just looks horrible. So thankfully, a lot of these Intamin coasters that opened have the new fabric restraints. I think the only one that still has the old ones is Cheetah Hunt at Busch Gardens Tampa, and maybe King Dakar. I can't remember. But anyway, those ones don't go upside. No, Cheetah Hunt does go upside down. Anyway, they should probably get the new ones too. That would be my recommendation. These are way better for sure. On August 19th, 2016, a train of riders got stuck at the top of Fahrenheit's lift hill.
Don't tell me that.
Fortunately, it was only 6 minutes until they were evacuated.
Only 6 minutes.
That's not...
Only 6 minutes of terrifying pee my pants kind of situation.
It could be a lot worse. There's... Not on Fahrenheit, but I've heard of other coasters like 30, 45 minutes.
This is the part where you... Don't tell me these things.
It's a 1 in a million chance it ever happens to us.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
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 The ride actually reopened later that day, so whatever happened, it was probably just some kind of glitch, or I don't know. Something not that bad. Remember when we were talking about a paint job at the very beginning of the episode? We're finally there. They changed the paint color in 2019, so you can kind of see it in this image.
It's like an ombre effect. That's cool.
A little bit. So, well, this is mid paint job. That's why it looks that way.
I wish they left it that way. That would have been cool.
So this is the original color, kind of like this light orange. And then in 2019, they painted what it is now, which is like that darker, almost red, like reddish orange.
Mm-hmm.
I personally prefer the new color. I don't know if you have a preference one way or the other.
No, I think it stands out pretty well.
Yeah, I like the new
I
color.
do like how it's like kind of like that ombre effect though in this picture. I think
it's weird the way they painted it. It's almost because like
they painted it in sections.
So
almost.
yeah, well, because the way we're looking at it, so for you looking, you're not looking at this picture if you're listening, but like the Norwegian loop, they had painted like the bottom half, but not the top half, which is strange. Maybe it's like when you're painting, but you haven't gotten the chair out yet, so you just paint as high as you can. And
Is
you're
your
like,
OCD kicking in?
you're like, I'll paint the top half later when I get the chair out. Maybe that's what happened here. They got like the crane out, and it just wasn't tall enough. They're like, oh, we brought that short crane. Why don't we? So
darn short crane.
Now we'll finish the rest of it tomorrow. I don't know how it works, but anyway. So fresh paint job in 2019. The weird thing about Fahrenheit that is kind of how I'll cap off the history of Fahrenheit is just that, Intamin had this model of doing a looping coaster, because Intamin does all kinds of stuff, because they did Storm Runner, which you've been on. They also did Sky Rush, and they've done lots of other stuff. They did Top Thrill Dragster. They did, I'm trying to think of other things you've been on that would be Intamin. They did Maverick. So, they've done all kinds of stuff in the industry. They're very popular. They've done lots of great things that are, constantly raved about by enthusiasts. They did Millennium Force. So, lots of things you've been on have been built by Intamin. But this model in particular just never took off. Fahrenheit was the only looping coaster that Intamin ever built. And I don't really know why, because I think it's really good. The one thing that people do complain about with Fahrenheit is the capacity is 850 riders per hour, which is really low. It's very low. Typically, you're wanting something in the 1,000 riders plus range for a major investment. So 850 is pretty low. And this will typically have one of the longest lines in the park, even though people like Sky Rush and Storm Runner more, because of the capacity. Like, this line just gets so long all the time. It's easy to wait an hour and a half for Fahrenheit. And you and I saw that when we went this summer. Like, typically Fahrenheit had the longest line in the park, even more than Candemonium and others, just because of how low the capacity is. So but yeah, so this model just never took off, and it's the only Intamin looping coaster that has been built to this day. So it's very strange, but continues to be one of Hersheypark's most popular coaster after almost 15 years, and is continuing to thrill guests to this day. And that is the history of Fahrenheit at Hersheypark. Now, I have one more weird newspaper article for you.
Oh boy.
It's a short one. It's just one that I started laughing out loud because it's
dear.
What the heck? So the article is called "Launching a Business Makes for a Scary Ride." So I was like, okay.
Disney World has Space Mountain. Six Flags Great Adventure has Nitro. Hersheypark has Fahrenheit. These rides which fling passengers.
These rides which fling passengers around sharp corners in dark spaces or hurtle them at 80 miles per hour straight down multi-story drops. First of all, none of those go 80 miles an hour.
I was going to say, that's a lie.
Can rattle the brave among us. So I read those first two paragraphs, and I was like, oh, okay, he's going to, maybe we're going to talk about, like, how these coasters get built, or, like, the amusement industry, and, For the toughest, these scream machines are child's play. When they want to be tested to their limits, they do something far scarier. They start a small business.
What?
Uncle Ted, who seemed sane enough before and after he came down with the small business virus, ran a delicatessen in Fort Lee.
What the heck?
He spent his days ordering and cooking, slicing and cleaning, haggling and catering. I like it well enough, he told me, but I'm working 18 hours a day.
Sounds like my chocolate business.
This article is literally just
nothing about
roller coasters. It is just about starting a small business.
Oh my goodness.
But it mentioned Hersheypark has Fahrenheit. This article was written a month before Fahrenheit even opened. This is... I don't understand. This is so bizarre. Hersheypark has Fahrenheit. Hasn't even opened yet. What are you talking about? Like, Is it just
someone on the inside is writing an article?
I don't know. It's just very odd, and just like his whole comparison was like, yeah, roller coasters are scary, but you know what's scarier? Starting a small business. That's scarier. That's terrifying. I was like, this is a weird way to write this article.
Small businesses are scary, but
well, it depends what kind of small business you're doing. If you're
man, my chocolate business is terrifying.
Oh yeah, but like he's talking about like if you get investors and you have to pay investors back, like that gets scary. But I don't know. It's just a weird way to write an article. So it's not that I'm arguing his point. I'm just saying this is a weird article. So
that was a weird article.
So that is the history of Fahrenheit and Hersheypark.
You did such a good job.
Oh, thanks.
Sorry, it's been kind of a crazy.
That was been a wacky episode, but we got through it.
But it was a fun episode.
It was a fun episode. So it's a fun ride. I really enjoy Fahrenheit. I hope you get to try it out someday. But maybe when they open Twisted Twizzler, we can
yes.
go back and check out Fahrenheit again. So, you have any questions or final thoughts for the listeners out there?
No, I don't think I do.
All right. Well, thank you for tuning into this episode of Airtime Traveler. If you haven't had a chance to follow us on social media, be sure to go and check us out. We're over at Twitter and Instagram. Our handle is just @Airtime Traveler. And be sure to follow us here on Spotify. Give us a 5-star review, and you'll be notified anytime we post something new. We'll keep those trip reports coming, so you can hear about all the stuff we did this summer, all the coasters we got to ride, and our opinions on those. And that will do it for this week's episode of Airtime Traveler. And thanks for tuning in. We'll see you in the next episode.